Okay, so here we are at the bench, looking at the process, thinking about the stuff. This is gonna be fun, but it was a big challenge. And again, a lot of the challenge wasn't just finding something as unusual and rare as an ashtray. Even just the regular watch itself is rare. But to find a salesman sample, boy, you would have thought that well ran dry a long time ago. But every now and then, some seller on eBay comes up with a pile of treasures, and this is one of them. I mean, it's really nice, not only that the dial and the hands are excellent, but some of the things on these are super rare. The crystals on these, impossible to find. Impossible. But speaking of impossible, other things are also stupidly hard to find. As I said, Seiko has made this movement for 32 years. This watch was made in very late 1985. Officially, they were launched in 1986. But to find the parts for them, holy God, it's so expensive. So the first step was finding a 7C46, a complete movement. Thankfully, that used to be very, very hard to do. Thankfully, though, somebody who sells new old stock watch parts in France has a stock of new old stock, brand new 7C movements. So when we're done with this, we will in theory have a complete 7C movement. Now the only problem is that they came with white date ring and no day dial. These had black, and you can see that there, the standard Wednesday too. So finding those parts, that was really, really hard. It wasn't terribly hard. It didn't take me too terribly long to find the black date wheels, and I got one French English and one German English. So I'm going to have to decide about which ones that's going to be. German English or French English? I don't know. I mean, it's the North American model, so really it should have Spanish English, but I couldn't find it. But the super duper duper, this took so long to find. These, and I got two because I was able to get one. According to everybody that I've been able to find, these are officially discontinued. Even Seiko says they're discontinued. The only reason I was able to get these is I had somebody at one of my parts houses who I talk with regularly, and she really went to bat for me. They dug and dug and dug and dug and badgered Seiko, and it took months, literally months, like 3 months. And they weren't even sure that these things were going to show up, and then they just arrived one day. I didn't know if they were ever going to come. But these are, that's a hard ask. But I've got that, so. And then, of course, we have to think about things like the bracelet and stuff like that. You can see these came on sort of a Z199, though I think this is a GL831 because of the time. Yes, it's a GL831-22. It's one of the later ones. And obviously I can't use that because it's been trimmed, sadly. I have a few things like this. This is a new old stock strap for, is this titanium? Stainless steel. So this is the extra long diver strap. This is the really long one. This is new old stock. I'd be pretty hesitant about trying to use this. As neat as it is, it's never ever been used. What I think I'm actually going to do, also they're super long because they're designed to go over wetsuits. But something like this, because I can feel it's not flexible. It's pretty stiff, relatively speaking. I mean, it's got some flex to it, but I would bet you that if I use this thing, it would just disintegrate. Like they would just start cracking. I could be wrong, but who knows? So what I'm actually going to use is a DAL1BP. This one came off another watch of mine that I'd worn. Isn't it a DAL1BP? Yeah, it's a DAL1BP. This is the JDM version of the Z22 strap that is made now, and you can get them on the green market. They're nice. They're not too long, and they're the closest thing you can find to what was on this originally. You can see that there. Like so. Okay, so I think that's going to be that. And the only other thing that I could have done, I wish there was a way to adapt the Z22, this is a genuine Z22, to this. Because if I could find some kind of a spacer bar thing for the hooded lugs to have that might be pretty neat. Though I don't know if the metal finish would work No, I don't think so, because this is brushed and that's satin. Okay, that's not going to work. I'd have to find something else that would. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this stuff off, and then we will we'll pull this apart, okay? I did a couple things sort of quickly. I wanted to make sure that I was not distracted while I was doing it, but okay, so this is all new old stock stuff, brand new. Pretty much clean as a whistle inside. You can see the old seal in here. Try to get that out. Huh, look at that, it's still flexible. That's amazing. I mean, because the thing's been in here since Reagan was president. Huh, isn't that nuts? There's the original crystal seal. Put that there. Not crystal seal, rotating ring seal. Here are these. They are surprisingly flexible. Of course, I can't use them, but the nice thing, of course, is that we can use, I will get these fat spring bars out because they are going to be perfectly fine. So this was the first time that Seiko came up with, finally, with unidirectional bezel turning, and they did, it's 120 clicks, and they've got two of these little lever diddly bops. And this is very standard now for what Seiko does, but this was, when they came out with these, those were the first of them. There's that. It has a standard sort of screw down ring here to keep this extraordinarily rare crystal in place with its frosted side. I've considered having these made, but honestly, these watches are so rare that it's just, I don't know that it's really worth it. Anyway, there's the original crown, and that has its ancient old seal in there. Yeah, I can feel that. Ooh, but at least it's not rock hard. God, sometimes I tell you, I pulled old crowns apart before, and they were just like, I had to like chip the old seal out. Just terrible stuff. Yeah, it's flat-sided, but it's still flexible. There's that. There's the original seal. So there's the crown. Now you'll note it doesn't have any of the stuff inside, but that is where, and I actually have new old stock parts versus these, which are used. I have actual new old stock, never used, brand new parts. But so we'll get that all cleaned up. But that goes in there. There's that. So here we go. So here's this. You can still see it's still got the blue case back sticker on it. Now the only thing that Seiko did with these is they stamped sample. It says sample right there, sample. And that will forever mark this as having been built from a sample watch. And you know, that's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm going to come up with another case back for one of these things. Plus it shows its history. I sometimes think that I wonder whether it wouldn't be better to have just kept this as it was. So there you can see what they did. They have the original dial in there. They have a little aluminum holder here, and they have, this is pieces of the day and date wheel together stuck in here. But thankfully the nice thing is when they do this, the dials are complete. I mean, they're stock parts, which is very nice. Let me just get this tape undone. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Not that I'm doing anything really technically special, just pulling out some old tape. There's that. And so I'm going to have to take this whole thing apart, obviously. And we want to pull the crystal out and everything else like that, because even though it's new old stock, it's been sitting around for 30-something odd years. So we want to get everything nice and clean. So we're going to run the case and everything through the, oh, would you come out? Through the ultrasonic and everything, and make sure that it's just spick and span. Would you come out of there? Stop fighting me. There we go. Come on, hang on just one second. I'm having a sticky situation. So there it is. Dial in hands. So this I'm not going to take apart right now. That I'm going to want to be very careful with and do that very, very carefully. So I am going to do that here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm just going to put it here inside this plastic cassette case. And I'll put that right over there so that doesn't go anywhere funky. Let's see what we got in here. Original case back seal again. This one's flattened. I mean, obviously I wouldn't reuse it, but it's interesting to see how the materials last. Okay, so now we're gonna pull that crystal screw down ring right there, and we're gonna pull that out of there and see what we can get done. I hope I don't have to get out old Big Bertha, but we will see. I'm just gonna try with the standard 3-hander here. See if we can get that done. So hold on just one second. I don't want to try to do this underneath the camera because I want to be sure that I get a good beat on it. And then I really can't get this done. Okay, seems like that's moving. Okay, that's good. That screw down ring. So that was not down super tight. I'll be very curious to see if they actually assembled this correctly with the nylon ring. That will be, whoops, sorry. That will be fun to see. So remember, this is as it was when it was assembled in 1985. Heck of a year, 1985. I had a good time that year. Okay, let's see what we got. I think there is. I think the nylon ring is in there. Yes, it is. That's pretty amazing. Okay, I'm going to use my handy dandy little suction cup. See if that'll do it for us. Maybe not. It looks like it might be pretty well sealed in, so I'm going to have to push it from the back, which is something that happens from time to time. So I'm going to get a piece of plastic here really quickly and just very gently, there we go, push that out. I'm going to have to clean the crystal anyway, but boy, these crystals are rare. Gosh, they're hard to find. They're so hard to find, that's just nuts. Yep, and there it is. There's your little nylon ring to prevent the screw-down ring from cracking that crystal. Whew, Lord, that's a valuable and important piece. Huh. Did that pull out on its own, or was that tweaked all the time? Look at that, huh? Got all squished down. They must have been having some fun when they assembled this. Now, the nice thing about Seiko is that in this time period, the rubber that they used for these seals doesn't seem to really degrade, and unless it's physically damaged, it can typically be reused. Now, this one I can't reuse, because when they assembled this watch, it got squished. So it's all got it's not right. I mean, and I'd want to put a new one in anyway, but it's too bad, because a lot of times you can rinse these in alcohol and let them air dry, and they would be fine, which is nice. Not all the time, but sometimes it works well. Let's get that ring out of there. Come here. And there she blows. There's a chapter ring. And yeah, it's plastic. The previous generation, these were metal. So that's plastic. Okay, that's important. We'll put that over there. And there we go. There's our stripped case. New old stock. Brand new. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go through and we're going to clean all this stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about putting it together. Okay.